Abby's View. I have become fast friends with the bunnies and visit them on a daily basis. I don't remember if I told you about the forsythias that line the driveway, but they have become the havens for many of the bunnies. There are multiple families of bunnies, or perhaps there is one huge extended family. Usually, sometime after supper, I make my rounds and I make sure I take the time to visit with each and every one of them. Of course, I let them know I'm out and about, and then I proceed to stick my head and neck into the underbrush of one of the forsythias. We chat at length about the doings of the day, then onward I go to the next bush, down one side of the driveway and up the other side until I have visited with all the bunnies that play in our yard. Now, if someone were to ask me a year or two ago what I thought bunnies were interested in and what they talked about, I would have to tell you I always thought they lived kind of boring lives. I don't know why I thought that, I just did. I'm fairly well read, or should I say I am read to a lot, and have heard a lot of the tales about bunnies, like the tale of Peter Rabbit, and I shall never forget when I learned of Watership Down and quite a few other stories. I always thought they were just made up and the product of the various authors' imaginations. I am here to tell you now it is not just the writer's imagination. Bunnies really are quite astonishing and exciting creatures. They consider events and issues much more than one would expect. They are quite clever and learned, and very careful to pass on their vast knowledge from one generation to the next. I would suppose it makes sense that they have to be very quick on their feet, as they are, after all, quite small and seemingly defenseless. They have finely tuned senses, which helps them avoid most trouble. One thing I did not know about the bunnies until I started talking with them more is that they are quite emotional little things. You know the term wearing your emotions on your sleeve? That is kind of how they are. Not every one of them, mind you, and I did not mean to stereotype all the bunnies in the world. But the bunnies that hang out at Lorden Farms tend to be a tad high-strung. As I write this, I must say that I've not seen any of my bunny friends for a few weeks now. We had some wonderful company here on the farm a couple of weeks ago. Laura and Dan had family come to visit, and they brought with them the most wonderful surprise for me that I think I ever got. They kept telling me that company was coming, and they were bringing Doc with them. But I guess I either was not paying attention, or was just so sure that a doctor was coming with them to visit that it didn't register what they were saying. Anyway, the visit is a story for another time. A wondrous and fun-filled and magnificent story full of adventure for all of us. Okay, if you haven't guessed it already, Doc is a dog. That's a wrap for now, as they say. See you soon in the next column.